Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen.
Hi everyone, so glad you can join me. I really want to know what's on your playlist. I find music, it changes with my mood, absolutely. It can also change my mood for me. So when I'm doing exercises that might be a little harder, especially if I'm lifting heavier, I like something a little more on the darker side, the angrier side, the heavy metal side, shall we say. I like hard rock, heavy metal. It's really hard for me, and it might work really well for you to do tough exercises such as a burpee or a push-up to classical music, but that might be what makes you move. I would love to know what makes you move. I am a country fan, true and blue to heart, but when I'm working out, I have a very specific style of music I like to listen to. So that being said, pick your music that you'd like to listen to. You can have that playing while you work out. Make sure your space is nice and clear. We're gonna warm up because we need to warm up that body. And usually my warm up isn't always heavy metal, but you just never know with me. So we're gonna do some movements to get that body warm, move into the exercise portion, then we cool down. Then we're gonna move into an interview section of the episode. So I don't want you going anywhere. You can still hang out and listen to your music and listen along. So keeping in mind that you want that space nice and clear. Okay, if you're exercising with a buddy, that's awesome too. Just make sure you're not going to hit them when we do some of these exercises, or you're not going to knock anyone over. Pets, try and just keep them out of the way so they don't knock you down or you don't step on a tail or a paw. I've done that before with my retired guide. He likes to be right in front of me. So let's get ready to warm up the body. I'm actually going to start with hip circles. So instead of hip circles, you can do wrist circles, ankle circles, shoulder circles. You can circle all kinds of parts of the body. You can do half head circles. But if you've ever used a hula hoop before, and I'm terrible at it, my one daughter is really good at it. So you're just going to think of drawing circles with your hips. Okay, so you have a marker on each one of your hip bones, and you're just going to draw circles with your hips. And this seems really weird. Really strange, but my hips have stiffened up with the more running I do. I'm going to change the direction of those circles. So you can do wrists, you can do whatever makes you happy. Okay, this makes me feel like I should be doing this to like salsa music, and I'm going to let that go. Now we're going to do some arm swings, but we're going to work into the back. So your arms are at your side, seated or standing. You're standing up nice and tall. Shoulders are down the back. I'm going to raise my arms straight out in front of me. They're about shoulder height and shoulder distance. Now they're palm facing each other right now. I'm going to turn my arms so my palms are facing down. Now what I'm going to do is move my arms so one crosses over the other in front of me. So it's going to cross. And I'm going to bring my arms open, and I'm going to bring my elbows back behind me. So I'm going to bend those elbows and bring them back to get a stretch in the back. And I'm going to take those arms back forward. And if you can remember which direction you crossed your arms, change the cross. So I'm crossing in front, opening them up, bring those elbows back behind me, bending the elbows. So up at shoulder height or just a little bit below, and bring them forward and cross and open and back. And you can start to really bring the pace up on this if you want. And if you're trying to get coordinated, that's fine too. And I'm just swinging my arms forward and squeezing the back. My back feels really good doing this. I'm really enjoying doing that. So next I'm going to come into a butt kick. If you'd like an alternative to a butt kick, you can do great big arm circles, because butt kicks, if they're done like at higher speed, and we do not have to do them at a high speed, can ramp up the heart rate. So we're going to bring up the heart rate. And these butt kicks, you're going to take note of the motion, because we're going to do an exercise later on in the episode where you're going to kind of utilize this motion. So your upper body variation of a butt kick, if you want to do great big arm circles. So I'm going to sweep my arms out in front of me so my palms are facing each other, fingertips up towards the sky. I'm drawing them up, making a circle and bringing them around. Now if your shoulders are tighter, you can do smaller circles. So I'm going to circle the arms. So that is your upper body variation. You can go whichever direction you want, because I'm going to make you switch partway. I'm standing and I'm going to do butt kicks. So if you need a chair in front of you, you can put the chair back in front of you so you can rest your fingertips on it. Do not use a chair with wheels. Oh my goodness, that's not going to help with your balance. Do not lean on the chair. It's just there to help you feel a bit secure. Now I'm going to kick myself in the butt, literally a butt kick. So I'm going to pick up my right foot, bend the right knee, and bring my heel towards my butt. If you can't kick your butt, that's okay. Just imagine kicking yourself in the butt. And the other side. And I'm just alternating, kicking my butt. So go ahead with those arm circles because I'm going to pick it up and go into a jog and kick my butt. So you can go as fast or as slow as you want when doing your butt kicks. Okay, arm circles as well. And I'm going to bring it down. Whew, my shoulders feel warm, my glutes and my quads feel warm. So I hope we've gotten you a little bit warmer to prepare for our exercises that are coming up. So you can go ahead and grab a drink because we're going to get ready to move.
Get ready to exercise. Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen. We'll be right back. Let's exercise. Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen is back.
All right, so I hope you've had a chance to grab some water. You can grab water at any time during our exercises, warm up, cool down. It's important to stay hydrated. So moving into the exercise portion, this exercise can be done seated. I'm actually going to do this on the ground. I'm going to do this kneeling because that's what is comfortable for me. Normally I would do this standing or sitting on a bench, but I feel like I want to kneel on my knees today. So you can also sit cross-legged on the floor. Now, if you're using dumbbells, you're going to keep them close at hand and you can go fairly light. What we're going to do is work the triceps. So your triceps are the back of your arm. So pushing, pulling, wheeling, everyday motions, your triceps have a large part in propelling us around. So we're going to work them. So your arms are down at your sides, whether you're sitting or standing or kneeling like I am. Shoulders are down your back. You're sitting nice and tall, so your abs are nice and tight. So if I kind of poke you in the belly button, it's that kind of in and up. It's nice and firm. Don't think of sticking your ribs out. Everything is in line. So I'm going to raise my arms straight up over my head. So my palms would be facing each other. So if I'm holding weights, those weights are facing each other. Okay, so my arms, I have some shoulder limitations, so they're slightly in front of my shoulders, shoulder distance apart, because if I bring them directly above the shoulders, that's really, really tight for me. So slightly in front. Now what I'm going to do is bend at the elbows. My elbows are going to point forwards to the wall ahead of me, and think of you're going to touch your weights or your fists to your back. You're going to pat yourself on the back. You're probably not going to touch your back. I don't want you to go that far back. So bending the elbows, bringing your hands and your fists behind you to about just above your shoulders, and extend them back up to that starting position. So keeping that core tight. And we're going to go again. Both arms, same time, keep those elbows pointing forward and bring it up. And bend at the elbows. And up. So it's kind of like you're going to pat yourself on the back, but not. Bending at the elbows and extend, working the backs of those arms, and my shoulders can feel a bit of this. My forearms, so that's the part of my arms above my wrist, and up and down and back up. So we're halfway through this set. Down and back up and down, and extend those arms up. Keep your core tight. 2 more. Down and back up. And last one. Down and back up. So I'm going to lower my arms. If you want, if you're using dumbbells, you can put them down beside you. Now your shoulders, if you have a lot of injury or chronic pain within your shoulders, you're going to be fairly light here, because raising the arms, if you're using dumbbells, that is, raising your arms above your head can be, well, it's not the easiest if you're really tight in the shoulders. So work light first. Don't just do super heavy on the triceps and the shoulders. So I've got my arms at my sides again. If you want to pick up your dumbbells, you're welcome to. Like I said, start light. We always start light. Raise my arms so they're coming up in front of me and all the way up over my head. My palms would be facing each other, or my knuckles if I'm holding the weights. Bend at the elbows. My elbows stay kind of facing forwards. Now, if you have a little less flexibility, you can open them slightly, but we don't want them open to the sides. And bringing those weights or your fists back and extend up. Your head is in line with your spine. Nice and long neck. Down and back up. And down and back up. And bending and extending. This is your halfway point right here as we bend and extend. And 4 more. Bend and extend and bend and extend. 2 more. And bend and extend, and bend. Last one, and extend. So we have one more set. I'm going to either put down my weights, but I don't have any, so I'm going to shake up my arms instead. You can do both. We've got, like I said, one more set. This is going to be a bit of upper body work that we're doing in the first half of our exercises, so our first 2 exercises. So if you need to take a moment to roll your shoulders to stretch out, feel free to do so. So tightening that core again, so engaging the core, sitting nice and tall. Bringing those arms up towards the sky again, bending at the elbows, bringing the hands back behind your skull, back behind your head, so they're kind of outside of the ears, and back up. So coming behind me and back up. And if your movement isn't as big as mine, that's okay. Down and back up and down. What is your core doing? And back up. So imagine keeping that nice and tight, and down and back up. We have 3 left. Down and extend. So each part of the movement, bring it down, is purposeful, and back up. You don't just extend up really fast. So bend, use those muscles, extend, use those muscles. One more, bend at those elbows and extend. Whew. So I'm going to put my weights down if I had them. So when you do that, you would bend at the waist, don't drop your head. Okay, and if you're standing, you bend at the knees. So that's just a bit of safety for where you put your weights. The next exercise, I'm not gonna lie, it's not one of my favorites, and I think it's because I've struggled with shoulder overuse injuries. So take some care in this and pick an option that works for you. So I've learned that selecting an option that might be a little better on the strain on my shoulders is much better, and that way I can develop the chest. So push-ups develop a lot of the chest muscles, and women have a tendency for some reason to struggle a little bit more with push-ups and bench press, those types of actions, as opposed to men, just due to our muscle structure. Doesn't mean you can't do it, but it's just a little bit different, so it can be a bit tougher. So to do a push-up seated, you can do a push-up off of a wall or off of a table. So you can lean forward and use a table, and I'll instruct the pushing up and pushing down motion, or you can do it just seated with your elbows bent and push your hands forward and bring them back. So the same motion of the push-up. Now I am down on my mat. I'm going to come on to all 4s here. So like I said, you can do a push-up against the wall, and you can angle your body a little bit, so step your feet further away from the wall for a little bit more resistance, or off that table if you're seated. Now if I want to come down onto the floor, the biggest mistake people make here is they do the push-up part with their arms and they would leave their rear end in the air. It's a full body motion, so you're using your core as well. So I'm in a tabletop position, and that means on all 4s on the floor, my hands are directly beneath my shoulder. My arms are nice and straight, shoulder distance apart. My knees are beneath my hips, and they're hip distance apart. The tops of my feet are flat on the floor. Now to do a push-up from this angle is not going to do you much good. So I'm going to extend my knees a little bit further back. I have a very long torso, so I have to kind of give myself a little bit more space. So I want you to extend your knees a little bit further back. So this is like a modified plank. I'm going to turn my hands just slightly to each side. Okay, so this is like a push, a lower and push motion. So your abs are nice and tight. So what I don't want to see is you stick your booty in the air. I don't want to see that. So keep it in line with your spine as best as you can. Now I'm going to bend my elbows. They're going to come out to the sides as I lower my chest down towards the mat and press it back up. Now, ideally, we almost want to get our lips to the floor. Let me tell you, I am not there. So I don't want it to be a super short motion. If it is, then you're going to use the table or the wall for greater mobility. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead with whichever version you choose. And we're going to do 5. So lower and press, and lower and press, and lower and press. One more. And lower and press. So I'm just going to come out just for a second and just shake out my wrists. Well, not my favorite exercise, but not the one I hate the most either. I'm going to share with you today one of the exercises that I do hate the most coming up next, but we get to break it up, and that's what I love about adapting exercises to work for every person. All right, so let's go into your second set, whether you're doing the seated off the table or off the wall or off the floor. So I'm back onto all floors. I am on the floor. To all fours. I'm bringing my knees back further into that extended plank. Now, your booty's still probably in the air, your butt's still probably in the air. So think of bringing your hips in line with the spine so your butt's not poking back. So I'm like a ramp. So that modified plank, turning my wrists out just slightly, and I am going to do 5 push-ups, okay? You are welcome to do more if you're stronger and you feel great. I'm gonna lower down, elbows out to the side, press up, lower down, press up, lower down, press up, and I'm just gonna turn my hands out a little bit more, just because I'm slipping here, and I'm gonna lower down, press up, and one more, lowering down, press up. Take a little bit of a break, shake it out, and do you have one more set in you? I think I got another set of 5. So I'm just stretching out my wrists, rolling out my hands, shaking them out, shake out your arms. Okay, let's do this. One more set of 5. So I'm going to set back up. So whether you're seated, standing, using a wall, using a table, I'm back onto all fours, backing those knees back a ways behind me to create that plank. Tops of the feet are on the floor. For me, I like to curl my toes under a bit. It works really well for me. That does not work for everybody. My fingers are spread nice and wide, and we're going to start our push-ups, and we've got 5. And come down and press up. Use your core. Down and press up. Is anybody's arms shaking? Down and press up. This is 4. And press up and down and press up. Wow. So not my strongest exercise, this one I've been really working on. The flexibility is coming back in my shoulder, but like I said, those adaptations are great to use. So I want you to grab a drink because we'll be back more with more exercises in a moment.
Keep moving. Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen. We'll be right back. Back to the exercises on Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen.
Okay, I don't know about you, but my chest and my shoulders are good and warm. So we are going to go towards that exercise that I said I did not like. I do not like donkey kicks. So if you think back to our warm-up, we did butt kicks. So we're going to utilize that, or I'm going to give you an alternate exercise to work the arms instead of your legs. So if you're seated, or you can do the standing if you wish, your arms are at your sides. I'm actually still in a kneeling position. I seem to like to be kneeling today. So I've got my butt back on my heels on the floor, but you can sit cross-legged too if you're on the floor. Arms are at the sides. I typically do this one on a bench as well, or seated in a chair. Arms are going to come straight up to the side, so your palms are facing the floor. They're at shoulder height. Now I'm going to turn my palms facing the sky. So I've just flipped my arms, but my palms are facing the ceiling. This you can use dumbbells for. You can use soup cans. You can have a tennis ball in each hand. So I'm going to make light fists, and I'm going to do bicep curls here. So I'm going to bend at the elbow and bring those fists towards my shoulders, keeping those elbows where they are. I'm going to bring those fists in. They're not going to touch my shoulder, but I'm bringing them in towards the body, towards the shoulder, and I'm going to extend them out. So you're making a muscle. I think of my little grandson, make a muscle, okay? And bending those elbows, bringing those fists towards the shoulders. So there's an upper body portion, because some of the work we've done can be quite upper body heavy. So if we're keeping that focus there's your arms. Now I don't like donkey kicks. I'm not going to lie. You can do the standing butt kicks that we did in the warm-up. So there is piece 1. So that makes them less scary, which is great. I'm going to give you another option if you want to take a stretch instead of do a donkey kick. Well, excellent, you can do that. So I'm on all fours on my mat. My knees are beneath my hips. My hands are beneath my shoulders, so they're directly underneath each. My fingers are spread, and my fingertips are facing toward, like away from me, so they're facing the wall in front of me. It's flat. I'm going to curl my toes under, and I'm going to raise my butt towards the sky. So making the shape of a triangle Oh man, did I need that in the back of the legs? Making the shape of a triangle or an upside down V or a pyramid. This might be where you want to stay. My heels are not touching the ground. For a greater stretch, they can drop down. Your head is in line with your spine. Now I've got mine turned slightly so I can talk to you, but keep your head in line with the spine. Don't force into the wrists, so shift your weight back a bit so there's less pressure on the wrists. Now I'm going to kick my butt with one foot. So I'm going to bend my right knee, pick my right toes up off the mat, and just think of kicking myself in the butt with the heel. My right butt cheek with my right heel. And now I'm going to switch and kick. And that can be your donkey kicks. Also not as scary. So I'm going to show you the full, and then we're going to go into a set. So I'm going to hop this and kick both feet into the heels. Okay? So I want you to pick the variation that works for you. Like I said, I don't love donkey kicks, so I'm going to do one foot at a time. So I'm going to come back into that pike-like position, so that triangle-like position, and you can get ready with your arm variation or your butt kick. So I'm going to kick one, then kick the other, and kick one, and kick the other, and kick one, and kick the other, and kick one. Don't let your arms shift if you can help it. Other, and kick one, and kick the other. One more each side, and kick one, and kick the other, and then bring it down. So I started to realize once I have deconstructed these kicks, they are less scary. So typically, when we're doing donkey kicks, you're not going to do a whole bunch because hanging upside down can be a bit rough. Form is more important than the amount of repetitions. So let's do that again. I'm lining myself up, hands beneath the shoulder, knees beneath the hips. You can choose your upper body variation. And I bring my butt up towards the sky, making that pyramid or triangle shape. Kick one, kick the other, kick one, relax your head and neck, the other, kick one, kick the other, kick one, kick the other, kick one, kick the other, and one more each side, kick one, and kick the other, and come down. We've got a third and final set. Now something you might notice, if you're upside down like that, so make sure if you've consulted with a healthcare professional, that if you are allowed to be in kind of an inverted position. There's some eye conditions that I know being in an inverted position is not the best, so you'll choose a different variation like the upper body or the standing butt kicks. Glasses. As I feel my sunglasses sliding, glasses might be an issue. If you're going to take them off, put them somewhere where you can find them and somewhere where you're not going to step on them or sit on them, but they might slide. So that is just something I remember from doing donkey kicks and burpees. My glasses like to slide all over the place. So last set, on all fours, we're doing the upper body variation. I'm going to come up into that pike-like position or triangle position. I'm going to kick one, and then the other, and one, and the other, and one, and the other, and one, then the other. One more each side, or if you're brave enough to do both feet, good for you, and down. And for those of you that are doing the arms, I'm sure your biceps are very happy to be done. So I'm going to lay down on my mat. Okay, and I'm going to talk through an upper body variation of these leg lowers, because we can do arm raises and leg lowers and all kinds of things. So we're focusing on the core no matter which version you're doing. That's the beautiful thing. So I hope if you hate donkey kicks like me, I've made them a little bit less scary for you. So I'm going to slide my shoulders down my back. So if you're seated, I'll talk you through the arms lying and seated. So my arms are at my sides, palm facing the outside of my thighs. I'm going to raise my arms up so that if you're seated, they're going to be at shoulder height and shoulder distance, palms facing each other. If you're lying down and you want to do the arms, your palms are facing each other and your fingertips are pointing towards the sky. In both variations, your arms are straight. Okay, so your abs are tight, so your belly is tight. I'm going to come and drop a tennis ball on your belly. It's that in and up, kind of firming the muscles. I'm going to raise both arms straight above my head and then back. And then bring them back to that starting position. There is your arm position. You can feel free to use this, or we can go into a leg lower. So I'm going to raise my legs. Actually, I'm going to slide my thumbs just under my butt cheeks. I do this just to kind of keep myself grounded, and I'm not pressing with my arms so much into the mat. So my thumbs are just under my butt cheeks, not under my low back. My legs are up, straight. There's a little bit of a bend in my knees because I have tight hamstrings. My toes are pointing towards the ceiling. Shoulders are down the back, abs are tight. So get ready to do whichever variation, because what we're going to do with the legs is that my feet are together. I'm going to lower them just a couple inches towards the ground and bring them back up, and I'm using my stomach. So we're going to go with the lowers or the raises, and here we go. And lower just a few inches and back up. And lower. I think mine were going about 6 inches or so, and back up, but I cannot tell. And lower. You'll be able to feel it. You don't want to feel it in your back. And up. And lower. And up. And lower. And up. And lower. And up. Can you give me one more? And lower. And bring it back up. I'm going to put my feet back down on the mat. So my knees are bent, feet are flat. You can lower your arms, just relax them up. And then we're going to go into set number 2. You guys are crushing this. Now, it's not about how far the movement is. If you're doing a leg lower, we want no pain in the hip flexors, so the crease of your hips, and no pain in your back. We want to develop the core. This targets the lower belly. The arm raises, those are target a little bit more of the upper abdominals. So I'm taking my legs straight up towards the sky, toes are pointed towards the ceiling, and you can go ahead and raise your arms up. And here, if you're doing the upper body variation, now I'm going to lower my legs and bring them back up. This set seems a little more mobile. And lower and raise, and lower and raise, and lower and raise, and lower and raise. And we've got 2 more. And lower and raise, and lower and raise. So I'm going to bring my knees in. You can relax your arms. My feet are now flat on the floor. So I'm doing, for these ones, if you're just new to abs, I'm going to do 3 sets of 6. If you're feeling really strong and you want to do 3 sets of 8, by all means. Now, I can tell you, if you've eaten chili or fast food, this one's not going to be your friend if you're doing the leg lower. So, because we are working those abdominals, after teaching fitness for many, many years, that's something you learn. Toes are up towards the sky, and your abs are tight, so you're thinking of engaging that core. I've got my thumbs under my butt cheeks just to keep my arms stable and my shoulders down. I'm going to lower those legs a few inches, bring them up. Be curious to know if you have greater mobility on this 3rd set. Lower and up, and lower and up. We have 3 more. Lower and up, and lower and up, and lower. Can you hold them here? Oh my word. 3, 2, 1. All right. Excellent job, everybody. So if you want to grab a drink, and we're going to get ready to stretch it out in just a moment.
Keep moving. Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen.
All right, you've worked really hard, and we're going to stretch those muscles out. I'm going to give you an alternative for the wrists, to stretch out your wrists and your forearms, and I'm also going to give you a variation to stretch out your quadriceps, which are your thighs, so the tops of your thighs. Okay, so the big powerful muscles, your arms you use every day, we need to stretch those out too, so you get to choose which version works for you. If you're going to do the upper body, so the arm variation, I'm going to take my left arm and bring it straight out in front of me at shoulder height. Okay, I'm going to turn my palm so it faces the floor. Now I'm going to bend at the wrist, so my fingertips, I'm going to keep my arms stable, and my fingertips are going to point towards the sky, like I'm going to high five someone in front of me. Now my other arm, I'm going to bring it across the body, and I'm going to take the palm of that other hand, so I'm touching palms, and what I'm going to do is gently press that palm to bend the wrist back. So I'm just stretching the hand back very gently. Okay, I'm going to release that. I'm going to point my fingertips towards the ground. So I'm tipping my wrist down, and I'm going to take that opposite hand to the back of the hand now and gently aid that stretch. So it feels really good after push-ups or weights or anything like that. So what you've done to one side, you must do to another. So that's something that I will do in my office as well. So there is your upper body variation. Your lower body variation is going to be a quad stretch. So those tops of the thighs, as I said. So I am coming to a kneeling position. So that wrist stretch, you can do it standing, seated, wherever you might be. This one, you're going to be kneeling on the floor for the quads. Now I've got all my toes, or at least most of them, tucked under. So I'm back on my heels. So my bum is kind of sitting on the Achilles or the heels, and I've got those 10 toes tucked under as best I can. And now I get to control the stretch. I'm going to stretch the feet and the quads, so the feet and the thighs. So I'm going to carefully lean back just a little bit. Yeah, I can feel that in my thighs. Now, if this is too much on your feet, guess what? You can put the tops of your feet down, put your hands on your hips, and now I'm up just a little bit higher, and I'm going to lean back. Okay, so if that feels better, you can go ahead and do that variation. So that actually feels pretty good. I think I might do that. So I'm going to lean back and hold that stretch. I did not realize how tight my legs were. Or you can be stretching the wrists. So I'm going to give you time to stretch the other wrist. I'm going to come out of this stretch. You can switch hands, and we'll go again. Just till you feel the stretch. We don't want pain. You're going to keep the core engaged no matter which variation you are doing. I'm going to release out of this stretch, and seated in a chair or sitting on your butt on the floor, whatever makes you happy. So I'm going to cross my legs. That seems to be a natural seated position for me. My arms are at my sides, shoulder down the back. I'm going to raise my arms straight out in front of me, shoulder distance. Now I'm going to bring the palms of my hands together and interlace my fingers. They're still at shoulder height. If your shoulders are really sore, really tight, you can lower them just a little bit. And what I'm going to do is roll out the wrists. So think of drawing circles with your knuckles and rotating those wrists. That feels quite good. Sometimes I hear popping and cracking. What you do one direction, guess what? You have to do the other direction if your body just allows it. Sometimes it's got an injury and you can only go one direction, and that's fine. And release. I'm going to shake out my hands. Now, because I'm sitting cross-legged, I'm going to change the cross of my legs, or you can be seated. Your hands are at your sides. Your palms are facing behind you. And what I want you to do is bring your arms behind you, thinking you're pressing the wall behind you. So stretch the back. And you can go ahead and hang out here. So I'm pressing away from me, pressing the wall behind me. You can enjoy that stretch, but I want you to keep moving, keep motivated, and stay with us.
Coming up on Healthy at Home, Bobbi hears the power of music therapy. We're back with health and wellness tips on Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen.
So as I said earlier, music can be motivating. I can use it to meet my mood, match my mood, change my mood. When I lift heavy, I like to listen to heavy music. And I'm actually sitting here with Lisa Witch today, who is a music therapist. Am I correct, Lisa?
That's right.
And we're going to talk music. So Lisa, tell me a little bit about what a music therapist does.
Sure. So I'm a music therapist. I work at a hospital here in Saskatoon. And so as a music therapist, I work with individuals or sometimes groups of people. And within a therapeutic relationship, I facilitate music experiences that help to be a force of change that can help to benefit people's health and well-being.
Tell me a little bit about what a day might look like for you, or an experience like this might be.
Oh, sure. So oftentimes my day might start with a referral. So a member of the healthcare team might mention, oh, so-and-so is having a difficult time coping in hospital. perhaps because they are not able to leave their room, perhaps they're experiencing a lot of pain or anxiety or having just difficulties coping with being in the hospital for whatever reason. So then I will go and meet with this person and oftentimes start with a conversation, kind of getting to know a person's preferences for music, their relationship with music, and then oftentimes it starts with, well, can I play a little bit of music? But sometimes people want to play along. But kind of in the sharing of the music, kind of a relationship grows through that sharing of music. And then I use those experiences, whether it's me playing to help somebody relax, whether it's creating music together in some way. Sometimes I meet people who are interested in songwriting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I help to facilitate music experiences that help to meet their needs, sometimes in the moment and sometimes over a longer period of time.
Wow. You said play along or play. What do you play?
So I have a guitar that comes with me everywhere that I go. And actually, I should mention I have a cart. So on that cart is my iPad full of music. I have a guitar, a bin of small percussion instruments. I have a few drums. I have lyric books. So I come prepared to assist people in kind of creating music, or I come prepared for any kind of music experience, whatever the moment is calling for.
That's fantastic. And you mentioned guitar being the instrument you travel with. We are currently sitting in a room full of guitars, I believe all different types. Lisa, am I correct?
There's lots of guitars, sizes, yeah, models.
So we're surrounded by a room full of, well, music waiting to happen. Have you always been musical, Lisa? When did this start for you?
You know, music's always been a part of my life. I started playing piano at a young age, always played in the school band. I played French horn in high school.
Oh, nice.
And then I went on to study music in university, playing the French horn. But towards the end of my music degree, I knew there was more to music than just playing it for myself, that I wanted to work with others. So then I did music therapy training before coming to Saskatoon. And then I interned here in Saskatoon, and then I've been here ever since.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. Now, you said to meet people where they're at. So I talked earlier a little bit about liking heavier music. This isn't always the case, but sometimes in certain situations like lifting or running or... So does it always have to be something calming for someone? Does that journey look different for each person? Can you describe that to me a bit?
Absolutely. Sometimes I meet people who are in very agitated states, people who are experiencing a lot of confusion. Sometimes I meet with people who are angry or who are very sad, or it varies, I guess, all depending on the day, the moment, what happened earlier that day. So sometimes I meet with people who very much want some peace. So I might play something very calming, very gentle. Other times I meet people who are so bored, who need some kind of stimulation in their day. And so we have a great sing-along. Sometimes people are tapping their feet, playing along and singing along, and that's not often soft and gentle. That could be really loud. And sometimes there's other patients in the room who join us, or other staff people who pop in and sing along.
That's what I was wondering. Did you find that people just kind of gravitate towards music and join in quite often?
Absolutely, because music is not something that can be easily contained. You know, like music fills space. You know, and even if I'm playing music behind a closed door, people can still overhear music in the next room. Sometimes the music experiences can be quite open, and sometimes not. It's nice, though, to be able to offer music in a way that allows people to experience the joy or the calm or anything in between together.
So it can definitely connect with emotions, is what I'm kind of getting to. So if someone is sad, you can connect with that and maybe help facilitate something to bring them that little bit more joy?
Absolutely. So it depends. Sometimes when people are feeling sad, it's okay to sit with those feelings of feeling really sad. And other times we want to try and uplift the spirits. So sadness can be revealed in music through the lyrics, or it could also just simply be the instrumental part of the music, the chords that are shared, the rhythms that are shared. So often in that case, I might choose music, or maybe they have a suggestion, or maybe they themselves know a song that they want to hear in the moment, but I might play that in a way that reflects their sadness. You know, and depending on what the goal is, to uplift the mood or not, might find songs with themes of maybe overcoming that sadness or feeling the sadness, but knowing that it won't last forever.
That must be quite an inspirational career. So we're talking about being in a hospital setting per se. How can someone kind of take music therapy home? Like, what could we do in our homes, in our lives, to kind of bring that music in and help facilitate mood or sit with mood?
With mood specifically?
Mood or mindset, anything like that.
I think, well, I think music, we know that music is so powerful. I think there's all kinds of ways that we can incorporate music in our life. I think the first step is figuring out how we can easily access music, because that's tricky for some. If you have access to a streaming service, that's great, or YouTube. Maybe it's just a CD player. But so once a person knows how to like listen to their music, it's figuring out the intention that you want to set for yourself. So whether that's to help boost energy, or for comfort, or for relaxation, or for mood. And then once that intention is set, and kind of knowing what time of day maybe would be helpful for listening to music. So for relaxation, maybe that's right before bedtime. And then the tricky part is figuring out what songs fit the intention. And so that's where the work comes in, because every person has unique relationship with music. So it's sort of diving deep, figuring out what songs would fit that intention. But also people can actually Google like songs for a rainy day, for instance.
Okay.
Yeah. But so once a person has a chance to listen to these playlists, you know, it's a bit of a process. Some songs might not serve a person well, and others might be. So it's a process of refining those playlists and becoming more mindful the more you listen to music for a certain purpose.
So if you could give us one tip before we go off into our various places, what would that be, Lisa?
Oh, one tip.
Yes.
Just keep the music going.
I think that is pretty
it going.
fantastic. And from today, I'm going to try and be a little bit more mindful in my selection. So Lisa, thank you so much for sharing the time and the space with me. And we will see you all again soon.
Produced by Honeycut Studios. Host Bobbi Janzen. Accessibility consultant Sierra Roth. Special thanks to Lisa Wutch and Long & McQuaid Musical Instruments. Integrated Described Video Consultant Ron Rickford. Content Development Specialist Jim Crisco. Supervising Producer Jennifer Johnson. Director Programming Lisanne Gagne. Director Content Development and Production Kara Nye. Vice President Content Development and Operations John Melville. President and CEO David Arrington. Copyright 2024 Accessible Media Inc.
An AMI original production.